Susan was 8 years old when she was in her home in Australia near the woods. She was happy living there until one day herself and her parents were terrified in their own house, where there was a huge bushfire out of control outside all around the area they lived. Miles and miles of land went up in flames, and she had to go down to a bunker they were lucky enough to have had. Her dad was a doomsday extremist and had built it into an old mine just in case the end of the world was to come. It wasn't the end of the world exactly, but Susan felt like it was. Even as an adult, when she lived in her own house, she had a huge fear of leaving her house. She used to be in her living room from day to night, and other times up in her bedroom looking out the window watching the world go by. One day she got the courage to finally leave her house. As she walked out the door, she jumped with fear. As she was crossing the road, a truck came straight for her. She screamed, but the truck wasn't even near her, but she thought it was going straight for her. She wondered should she go back into her house, but decided to walk down the footpath. She was petrified the more she walked, but she walked on. She knew she had to get out of her irrational fear of going outside. Just another few minutes, and she will be back safe in her home. She walked on for about 10 minutes, and when she was walking back, she could hear sirens. They reminded her of the bushfires. She knew she was getting a flashback. There were 2 fire brigades went flying past her. She was really looking forward to get back into her house. The fear was building up inside her more and more as she got to her driveway. She froze in fear as she could see her house was engulfed in flames. She was trying to figure out how her house had caught fire. She was terrified of being left outside. She was shaking with fear, wondering how could she stay outside, and where else could she go. A few weeks later, she was in a therapist's office. She was explaining to her what had happened long ago in the bushfires. When her therapist went out of the room for a minute to get some water for herself and Susan, Susan went into a daze. She got out a bottle of gasoline from her bag and poured it around the room and took out a lighter and lit it. She walked out of the room and missed her therapist, who was down the other side of the hall. When she was walking away, she snapped out of her daze and could smell fire and ran. Susan didn't know what she had done, just like she didn't realise what she had done the day her house went on fire, and just like the day when she was an 8-year-old little girl setting the gorse fire to cause a huge bushfire that killed so much wildlife and so many people. The footpath. Thanks for watching The Assassin Rapper, and if you want to stay up to date on new content, then please subscribe and be sure to hit the bell to be notified on new content. Sam was working in a pet shop to face his fears. The reason he had a fear of birds was when he grew up in his town. Every time someone died in a mysterious way, he would see a bird follow him. He knew that if he worked in a pet shop all day, then it would break the random act of seeing a bird follow him. It was advice he took from his doctor in a local psych ward. He worried would it only cause more people to get killed, but luckily for 5 years now, he hadn't experienced any bird following him, and there was no mysterious death in his town. While Sam spent time in a local psych ward, he was trying to explain his situation. he eventually knew that all the doctors would think he was crazy if he kept believing when a bird followed him, there would be a mysterious death. So what he did was begin to tell the doctors he must have been going through some sort of breakdown, but he knows now that of course what he believed back then wasn't true, and he doesn't believe it now. Sam was on his laptop getting ready for the 5-year anniversary party of the pet shop. He was finishing the final touches, sending out emails to his customer list, reminding them that there will be free gifts and snacks all day tomorrow, celebrating 5 years of being in business. The next day the shop was full of customers enjoying the party. Sam was so happy that his plan had worked. He first realised it 5 years ago when he did what his first doctor said. It isn't real. The birds are not connected to any deaths. That is when the deaths stopped. He smiled over at his doctor, who treated him in the psych ward, while opening a bird cage. He whispered, "I believe the birds are responsible for deaths." Suddenly the birds followed Sam out of the shop, and just before the birds could reach the door, he made sure to run and close it, watching everyone in the store drop dead. Then he smiled and said to himself, "They should have believed me." Thanks for watching The Assassin Rapper, and if you want to stay up to date on new content, then please subscribe and be sure to hit the bell to be notified on new content. There were 4 random strangers chosen to share in a prize of $100,000 if any one of them solved a puzzle. It started with a simple phone call. Sarah was in her office when she got the call. "Hello, this is a genuine request. You're under no obligation to say yes, but you and 3 other people are invited to take part in a puzzle. If you or any of the rest of the participants solve the puzzle, ye will all share in the prize of $100,000. That's giving ye all exactly $25,000 each. That is a nice payback for just a few minutes' work. If you would like to participate, then all you have to do is arrive at Madison Hotel on Grove Street at 6 p.m. this evening. There is an elevator on the ground floor. Just wait outside that elevator for the door to open. Then please enter with the rest of the participants. You will all know that ye are there for the puzzle, don't worry. The same phone call arrived for Jack, who was in the gym working out. Tony got his call while out walking, and Mary got her call while watching TV. They all agreed to take part in the puzzle. That evening at 6 p.m, they were all waiting outside the elevator, waiting for it to open, excited with the chance of pocketing $25,000 each if any of them solved the puzzle. Suddenly the elevator doors opened, and they all stepped inside. The elevator started going up, and a voice came through the speaker. "Hello, player. Thank you very much for taking part in this puzzle that enables you to have a chance of winning $25,000 each. The question to the puzzle is simple. The floors of this hotel have various occupants at different times. Sometimes, but other times not as much. But what button in this elevator is pressed the most? If you can't answer by the time we reach the top floor, you will be shown the answer on the display in the elevator, but unfortunately you will lose out in the money. This is the most important rule. If you give a wrong answer, you will all lose the game. Good luck. The elevator started going up to the top floor. Everyone started talking about it, trying to solve the puzzle. It sounded so complicated, especially when there were different numbers of people staying in different floors at different times. Everyone knew there was 15 floors in the hotel, so Sarah shouted first floor before it hit 15. They all hoped the answer was right. Then suddenly the voice came back and said, "I am very sorry. You were very close, but the answer is ground floor, because everyone has to go to the ground floor. As promised, we will show you the answer, which is everyone has to go to the ground floor." Suddenly the elevator made a bang and started falling faster and faster, and everyone in it started screaming until it crashed to the floor and they were all killed. Thanks for watching The Assassin Rapper, and if you want to stay up to date on new content, then please subscribe and be sure to hit the bell to be notified on new content.